The Russian armed forces are probably not cooperating well with North Korean units at the front. A loud scandal recently broke out with the shooting of a group of soldiers from the DPRK. Russian military expert Yuriy Fedorov spoke about this in a commentary to the resource, and Graham crashed. According to him, a Russian armed forces officer had a domestic conflict with North Koreans on religious grounds. As a result, 3 Cargo 200 left for the DPRK. There was some incident that was unpleasant for both sides. A Russian officer shot 3 North Korean soldiers who were having lunch, having spread the food on an icon. He went into a hut, got terribly indignant, and shot the North Koreans. Apparently, there was some scandal before that, the military expert said. He specified that this incident was one of the topics that Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belousov recently discussed with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un during a trip to Pyongyang. Overall, according to Fedorov, there are clear signs that Russia is not doing well with the deployment of North Korean troops on the front. There are a lot of mysteries. On the one hand, the media writes that North Koreans are participating in military operations in the Kursk region. However, there is no specific material evidence of this. There are no prisoners, no corpses. Even Russian military bloggers have nothing about them, and they usually write such things. Somehow, apparently, not everything is going well. Mechanisms for interaction between North Korean units and Russian military personnel have not been developed. Otherwise, there would be some material evidence that North Korean military personnel are participating in battles, the military expert suggested. It should be noted that Kim Jong-un transferred a 12,000-strong group of troops to Russia to strengthen the Russian offensive in the war against Ukraine. In exchange, according to intelligence and media, the DPRK received space and missile technologies as well as energy resources from Russia. Recently, Financial Times reported that North Korean soldiers who were transferred to Russia to participate in the war against Ukraine have developed a serious addiction. They are very much into erotic videos. The DPRK soldiers received in Russia what they were deprived of in their own country: free access to the internet. And what interested them most on the internet were sites with adult videos.
Soldiers of the Ukrainian Special Operation Forces have entered Russian Army's position, capturing 12 Russian servicemen and killing 17 others. Operators of 73 Marine centers and 6 Ranger regiments destroyed 17 Russian soldiers and captured 12 others during a raid on the adversary's positions in Kursk region. Since early October, Russia has stepped up attacks in its Kursk region, where Ukrainian troops launched a large-scale incursion in August. Russia aims to recapture the border region before U.S. President election Donald Trump's inauguration in January to have an upper hand in negotiation table. Ukraine is losing ground in the region, with Russian troops recapturing around 40% of lost land. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky earlier said that Russia's President Vladimir Putin is to push Ukrainian troops out of the area by January 20th next year.
The occupiers in eastern Ukraine are bringing in reserves, including former female prisoners, to fight in the war in Ukraine. This was stated by the spokesman of the Operational Strategic Group of Forces Khortytsia of Ukraine, Nazar Voloshin. He noted that the enemy is concentrating its main efforts on the Pokrovsk, Kurakovsk and Vremovsk directions. According to him, the enemy is suffering heavy losses and is bringing up reserves. The enemy is bringing up reserves that it had in other directions. The Russian military command is forced to use a significant part of the strategic reserves that it has accumulated over the course of this year to seize territories in the Kurakovsky, Vremovsky and Pokrovsky directions. The Russian army does not have unlimited capabilities, but it is bringing up reserves, including armored vehicles and personnel, to support its assault operations, Voloshin said. He added that newly mobilized and former prisoners were also seen in the ranks of the Russian troops. And recently they were seen, and we have information that women were recruited to participate in the assault actions. These are former convicts from the storm units, and these units are formed from former convicts, he noted. Voloshin reported that prisons in the Russian Federation are almost empty because convicts are sent to participate in military operations on Ukrainian territory without their consent. He said that there are isolated cases when prisoners said that less than a month passed between the announcement of the sentence and their captivity. The Russian army is gradually expanding the role of women as it seeks to balance President Vladimir Putin's promotion of traditional family roles with the need for new recruits for the war in Ukraine. The military's stepped-up appeal to women includes efforts to recruit female inmates in prisons, replicating on a much smaller scale a strategy that has swelled in ranks with male convicts. Recruiters in military uniforms toured Russian jails for women in the fall of 2023, offering inmates a pardon and $2,000 a month, 10 times the national minimum wage, in return for serving in frontline roles for a year, according to 6 current and former inmates of 3 prisons in different regions of Russia. Dozens of inmates just from those prisons have signed military contracts or applied to enlist. Women now feature in Russian military recruitment advertisements across the country. A pro-Kremlin paramilitary unit fighting in Ukraine also recruits women. The Russian military's need to replenish its ranks for what it presents as a long-term war against Ukraine and its Western allies, however, has clashed with Putin's ideological struggle, which portrays Russia as a bastion of social conservatism standing up to the decadent West.